Hey everyone and welcome to the Learning Ladder. Today I thought I would do a review of IEW. So I have Structure and Style 1A to show you, or to talk about. I will show you briefly. If you want to look inside, let me know because I can do that separately. But in this video I'm just going to give you my review on them, talk about what it is and what it isn't, and I think that's really important to know that going in, and also what we thought about it, how we used it and everything else. So let's get started. So in my package I bought the, I think it was called back then, the premium package. I don't know if they've changed it, but I think that's what it was called back then. And basically I got 1A teacher manual for structure and style for students. I also got the binder for your student, which is a level A binder. It came with a word right now, which is a thematic thesaurus for stylized writing, and it has different definitions and different words that you can use in your writing, and this is something that we'll continue to use for the future as well. I think this is a great thing to have. I think it kind of goes over the head at the 1A level, but I think as you get older you can definitely refer back to this, and it's a really good addition to have. I also got the portable wall. This all came in the pack, the portable wall, and basically it just goes through the whole IEW process, with all the different things to think about: dress up, sentence openers, decorations, all the different things that they have. The substitutes for said, strong verbs, why adverbs, just everything that you could possibly need comes with that. Now I did in fact also purchase the teaching, writing, structure and style for you, the teacher. I can't recall whether it was part of the package. I seem to think it must be, because I don't think I would have just bought this by itself. So I think it included this as well, but I'm not sure. If I'm completely wrong, I will leave a comment and let you know whether this was a separate item I purchased, but I don't think it was, because I can't imagine why I would have bought a separate item. I think it was all in the same pack. But this is completely different. This is the teaching, writing, structure and style course for teachers. You don't have to do this to do this. This is a course that you do as the educator to teach you how to teach this. You don't have to do it, but I do think it's actually really beneficial to do it if you have the opportunity, because it lets you understand where it all came from, how it was all developed, why, and that also comes into what this is and what this isn't. So if you do this, you'll understand why they lay out the course the way they do, the reasoning behind it and everything else, and you also get to actually do some of the lessons, like a little practical example of what it's like to do the course and what you're looking for. And I think that's really helpful as you as the educator when you're asking your child to do the work. If you've already done it, you have a better understanding and can explain it more. So I do think this is really worthwhile. And also Andrew Poudrois is amazing. I absolutely loved his presentations. He's so funny. He has such a great sense of humour, but he's also very witty and intelligent, and it's definitely worthwhile doing this if you have the opportunity, but it's not essential to do the course. Okay, so structure and style for students, level A. So what you actually get is, as I said, the teacher manual, and it goes through, it has all the examples of every single unit that is in the student, for you as a copy, and it has, you know, extra bits and tidbits in there for you. It has all the different papers that you need and the different units, and the different documents as well, which I think is fabulous, because then you're not having to lean over your child's work to see, you know, what document they're doing. We did have the video presentations as well that went along with it, and again, they are amazing. My daughter thought Andrew Poudrois was hilarious. She thought he was great in terms of how he presented the course. She was really interested in what he had to say, but she also just liked to get on with it at a certain point. Once she got the hang of it, she wanted to just, you know, run. She didn't want to have to go through everything to find out what was happening and how to do it, because she understood how she was supposed to do it. And that's just my daughter. Once she knows what to do, she just wants you to let her get on with it. She doesn't need to be handheld, if you see what I mean. So at certain points, once we got to the gist of what you were supposed to do, then we just stopped the video and she would just get on with it herself. And obviously I would check her work and everything else. But don't get me wrong, I think the videos are fantastic, and your kids will enjoy them if they watch the videos as well. But I do think that once you get the gist of what you're doing, if your child is ready to go, then, you know, that's okay too. So they do have different schedules. You can do it for 1 day or 2 day or even a 3 day week. And this is all in your teacher guide. And basically, each unit is set up into weeks, and you have 24 weeks in total and in 7 units. Now, don't think for 1 second that, well, I suppose you could, but I don't think you can do everything in a week. I think it does certain units do take longer. So although it's only 24 weeks, it will definitely take you through the year completely. And we actually split ours in 2 and did half in 1 year and half in the other year, because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to go through. And basically the units are, we've got Unit 1, which is note making and outlines. Unit 2 is writing from notes. Unit 3 is retelling narrative stories. Unit 4 is summarising a reference. Unit 5 is writing from pictures. Unit 6 is summarising multiple references. And Unit 7 is inventive writing. And then it's split up throughout weeks. So for Unit 1, you've just got a week 1. And then for Unit 2, it's week 2 to 5. Unit 6 is week 6 to 8. Unit 4 is week 9 to 12. Unit 5 is week 13 to 16. Unit 6 is 17 to 19, and Unit 7 is 20 to 24. So there are a different amount in each unit, but like I say, I don't think you would do it in 24 weeks. I really don't. I do think you need a little bit longer than that, but obviously you know best to plan how you would choose to do it. I do like the fact that it had the optional schedule. So for example, if you could only do writing 1 day a week, you know, it could really condense it down for you as to what you needed to get done. And it does also have a scope and sequence as well for each week, and it breaks it down, showing you what you're going to be doing, what style it is, so whether it's an ly adverb, a who which clause, a strong verb. And then it also does have literature suggestions as well if you wanted to read anything to go along with that week. It's not essential, because in each lesson you will have the piece of work that they're going to be using to model off and to do their piece of work on. But if you wanted to add some additional reading in, then that's always an option for you as well. So those are the units. The student binder is amazing quality. Everything is really, really well presented, and basically you have all your dividers in here for all your different units, and it has all the corresponding work in, and then you just separate it out and put it into that particular tab for that week. So let's just look at an example week. So this is week 10, and this is desert reptiles. So this is your student schedule, what it would look like, and it's the same in your teacher manual. So day 1, it'll be watch part 1 of video 10, practice correctly writing a who which clause and a to, or to, learn the various functions of in words, practice dividing subjects into topics, write a KWO chart for the Sahara Sand Viper, which is the piece of work that they'll be doing. And then day 2 and day 3 and day 4 and so on. And then at the end of the days, you would have completed the whole piece of work that they have been working on. And if you're doing the videos, then you can follow along as he does it with his class of students that are taking part, or you can watch part of the video like we did, get the gist of what you needed to do, and then just get on with what you needed to do. It's entirely up to you, but the videos do add tremendous value, and I think your kids would really enjoy them, especially how he presents them is really funny. It's great to watch. Okay, so what is it and what is it not? So when you actually watch the teaching writing structure and style, well, if you do watch it, the videos that go along with the teaching course that they offer, you'll see why they wrote it in the first place. And it was because one of the chief people who was involved in him actually writing it was a professor, and he had so many issues with students coming into his college class and not being able to write a paper. They just couldn't do it. So Andrew Poudoir used a lot of the information that this professor, the problems it was having and everything else in his development of structure and style. So that really says it all. So if you have that in your mind, okay, so the course was created to help college students be able to write a paper. So to me, structure and style is not a creative writing course. It is an academic writing course. So if you're wanting to teach your kids how to write an imaginative story, it could help in terms of format and planning possibly. It could help them to pick strong words to use and not to continually use said and that type of thing. But to me, the course, and the title says it all, structure and style, is to help your child be able to write academic pieces for the future. So you're starting them off on a level where they can manage it, so you're obviously not asking them to write a dissertation, but you're starting them off on the path of how you would write an academic piece of work for when you eventually, if they want to, go to college. So it's all about, if you think about if you're doing a degree in history, for example, what you have to do when you're writing an essay. So you have to do your research, you have to read articles, hence the articles in here. You have to find information from that article which would help support your opinion. So you're forming an opinion when you're writing an essay more times than not, depending on obviously if you write what are you writing. But if you're writing a historical essay, you're forming an opinion. So you're looking at source text. You're finding things in here that are going to support your opinion. You're going to argue your opinion, and make your keyword outline, and then you're going to write your essay. So this structure and style to me is an academic writing course. It's not a creative writing course. So if you're wanting, as I said, to teach your kids how to write imaginative stories, then this is not the right thing for you, in my opinion. I've heard a lot of people say things like it stifles creativity. It also, people dislike writing because they're having to think of all these different points. But that's because it's not a creative writing course, in my opinion. It is an academic writing course. And when you go to college, or you're writing a paper, the professor doesn't want an imaginative piece. The professor wants you to be able to have taken a source text, to have found all the key words out of it, to have formed an opinion based on the evidence, and to present your argument. And that's exactly what this does for you. Obviously, depending on what level, it builds you up gradually to the point where you'll be able to, at the end, once you've finished all the courses, go to college and be able to write those papers that professor said he was having problems getting students to be able to do. So that's the first thing, what it's not and what it is. In terms of whether we got something out of it, we definitely did. But I would 1,000,000% say, if you are doing this, that you also do have to add in creative writing. You could do that yourself by just having them do free writes of things that are interesting to them. Yes, you could loosely base it on this, but as a writer myself, and everybody's different as a writer, some people are very much, they have to plan everything out word for word. I'm more on the lines of, I'll have a rough plan, a rough idea of what I want to put in each chapter, but I just like to let my juices flow. I just like to let my creativity flow around my, okay, well, this is probably going to happen in this chapter scenario. So yes, they could incorporate this plan into their creative writing, and it could help them in that respect, particularly in terms of picking strong verbs, strong adverbs, and not using said all the time and things like that. But if you're wanting to teach creative writing, then I don't think this is the right course for you. You should definitely look at other options, and also think about free writes, journaling, simple comic books where they can write their own stories, giving them story prompts. Okay, so wake up in the morning, write something on the board. Today we went to the beach. What was the problem? Who are our characters? What problem did they face? Conflict. How did we resolve it? So break the story down that way, rather than using this particular course, because in terms of in my opinion, it is 100% to teach academic writing. So I can understand why people say that, but you're going into it with the wrong idea if you're thinking that this course is to help creative writing. I don't think that's what it's made to do. You can incorporate elements of it, and I definitely think if your child really struggles with creative writing, something like this would really help them, because they would be able to, I think people who struggle with creative writing need structure. They need to know, right, this is what you have to put in a story. But if your child loves creative writing and is that way inclined, then yes, you might find that this does feel like it's stifling them. But if you explain to them that this is not the time when they're going to write their own imaginative story, this is the time when they're going to learn how to write a paper, if they want to go to further education, how they can use a document to support their argument. That's what this course is going to really help them with. So if they're having a discussion with somebody and they're trying to prove their point and they're needing to support their argument, then this course is really going to help them with that. So that's the main criticism that I found when I've been looking online. I had a quick look before I started doing this video to see what other people's problems are with it, or what problems that they've had with it. And then I also saw what good things, what, you know, positive reviews. And what I found most was that people whose children struggled with creative writing, this really helped them because it gave them the structure that they needed, and also it helped their children to form more professional, polished work, because they, you know, sometimes they would go on and on about a certain thing in a story, and, you know, they wouldn't get to the point for reams of paper later. So this really did help them to pinpoint what was required in order to make a good, solid paragraph. But just saying that, just saying those words should give you the idea that this is not a creative writing course, because a creative writing course, you wouldn't necessarily worry too much in the early stages, in the rough draft, about that type of thing. You would just let, you know, the juices flow, and then you would edit later. There are certain creative writing courses which are really, really strict, and, you know, you have to have this in the first paragraph, you have to have that in the second paragraph. As a writer, that's not for me, but there are some people that really thrive on that, and published novelists who have definitely thrived on having a ton of structure in their writing. It just really depends on the child, I think, in my opinion. If your child, as I said, struggles, if you give them a piece of paper and ask them to write something and they just look at you, I can't think of anything, this tremendously would help them. If your child is naturally talented, or not necessarily talented, but it comes more easily to them, then I don't think in terms of creative writing, if you're wanting just solidly creative writing, this is the right option. But if you want that creative writer to have more structure, this would work for them. If you want that creative writer to learn how to do more academic styles of writing, you know, so say they're very imaginative, but when it comes to proving a point, or, you know, finding evidence to support a point and they struggle, then this would really help them for that. And then also, obviously, if you've got your child that you just want, you know, is going to eventually go into college, they need to know how to write a professional paper, this will definitely help them. So I hope that was helpful for you. If you've got any questions, leave them below. Overall, we really did enjoy it. As I said, the videos are fantastic. It really did help us to understand, you know, what's required in a more professional paper, what is necessary to do, you know, in terms of if you're writing a piece, what do you need to think about, what words should you omit where possible, what other words could you use. And that, in terms of creative writing, that is really helpful. What I would say first is just let them write their sentence, and then, you know, have a look at the words separately once they've done that in the editing process, not in the initial draft, obviously. What I do also like about things that he says in this video is how he's very much on, don't, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect writing, you just let them go, let them write. In terms of neatness and everything else, editing comes later. He wants them to write in pen rather than pencil, so they're not constantly erasing as they're trying to write. And my daughter doesn't do that anyway, but if your child is very much of, oh no, I've wrote the wrong word, I need to rub it out now, then they'll lose track of where they're up to. So I do think some of the points that he raises and some of the ideas he suggests have strong merit, particularly the writing in pen. When they are actually doing their draft, leaving spaces between the lines for corrections later helps your perfectionist, because they know that there's a space there that they can come back to and amend things. So he does give you some really solid, strong tips throughout, which I really did appreciate. And would we ever do structure and style again? 100%. We would definitely do it again, but I would wait till she was older, because I think that would be the time when we would be wanting more academic, you know. So we wouldn't do, for example, we wouldn't do 2A this year, or 2B, whatever it is. We wouldn't do the second level this year. I think now that we've done this, we will concentrate more on other styles of writing, and then we would revisit the next level in maybe a year to 2 years time, as we're getting closer to high school, to revisit the structure and style, and I think that'd be really beneficial. But we have really enjoyed it, and I found that it was age appropriate. I do think it's a little bit advanced, so I think this is from 3rd to 5th. I would not do this with a 3rd grader, in my opinion. I think it'd be too hard for them. You could make it easier or go really slowly. I think 4th to 5th, perfect in terms of content. We did half of it in 3rd and then the rest in 4th. I think that was fine. I think we could have waited till 4th and done the whole thing in 4th rather than doing some in 3rd. But you know, she managed with it fine, so it wasn't a problem. But going back, I probably would have waited till 4th for it, because I do think there's a lot of information in here and it can go over younger children's heads. So that's something to think about, because do they really think about ly adverbs in 3rd grade? Possibly, but you know, I don't think it's a strong. I think you really just want them to be writing. You just want them to enjoy writing, rather than too much correction at that age, in my opinion. So I think 4th to 5th is the right age. You could start this in 5th and it would be absolutely fine. You could even, I'd say, even push it to do this in 6th too, in my opinion. So yes, we would definitely do it again. They do have thematic packets for different topics, and I have not done one of those. I'm definitely inclined to try one. I don't know if I want to try one this year or next year. It just depends on what language arts program I decide to go with this year, because I haven't made my purchase yet. But I did have the myths, fables, I think it's fairy tales, myths and fables, or it's a combination of those 3 words, or 3 ideas, something like that. And I definitely would look at doing that again. Not again as in we haven't done it yet, but I would look at doing that before I did a 2 of the structure and style. I don't know if it's 2 or does it just go to B, I'm not sure. Whatever it is, before I did the next level, I definitely want to try a themed pocket, and I think that would be, in my opinion, the way to do it. To do a structure and style, wait, maybe take a break and then do something else, and then return to it and do a thematic packet, and then maybe take a break or just go straight on to the next structure and style. And that's probably what we'll end up doing. But yep, that was everything today. If you've got any questions, leave them below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.